Hello everyone. In this video, I want to drop in deeply to the upcoming Venus retrograde. It happens this weekend. Before I start, I want to remind everyone that I have a free intro class to the upcoming Essentials course and the full year training program. This class is on Sunday, more in the description below, and I'll share a little more about this at the end of this video. So Venus is going to begin this retrograde journey this weekend. And whenever any planet moves retrograde, I often feel it as a ceremony container. There's a lot of buildup, there's a lot of energy, a lot of internal preparation before the retrograde. And then we enter this phase and we have to surrender to it. We have to allow it. There's an internal process. There's a reworking. There's a healing that's occurring. And oftentimes during the retrograde journey, we're taken in a direction to face aspects of ourselves, facets of life that maybe we didn't think we would face. It doesn't always go the way we thought it would. So with Venus moving into this retrograde container, we are really called to embody this Venus archetype, our own self-value, our feelings, how we are in relationship to ourselves and to other people, to slow down, to drop in, to go within, to really meet what's happening now, to stop forcing and pushing and trying to make ourselves anywhere other than where we are. It's been a consistent theme in pretty much all of my sessions that wherever I see Venus transiting in the chart, right? Venus is in Capricorn, where in your chart, what house is it in? What is it aspecting? And also where is Saturn, the ruler of this Capricorn? This is actually where I'm seeing there's a prevalent experience of there being a lack of ground, right? The grace, the beauty, the flow, the harmony, the resonance, it's not there as easily. This is because Venus is moving into the underworld very soon. There's an internal process occurring. And we're asked to draw upon a deeper trusting of ourselves, a deeper embodiment, a deeper connection to our inner reality. With Venus, we can often become overly dependent on people relating to us in a certain way, on the things of our life being what we need them to be, to feel comfortable, to feel pleasurable. We can get hooked in value and self-worth being directed to all these external factors. They see me a certain way. Society approves of me. I fit these characteristics, Venus and Capricorn. And when all of that drops away, we are left with our internal relationship to ourselves. Who we are, how we feel, what's actually happening right now. So what I want to do is speak about this retrograde time period. And I'm going to do this by actually sharing some shots of some charts that depict all the core transits of this entire Venus cycle, because I want to present this particular period of Venus moving retrograde within the context of the larger journey, which to me begins in November, this past November, when Venus passed the shadow point. So I'll share that and I'll explain all these things as I move along. This is the first chart that I'll share with you. In every chart, Venus is on the ascendant. So this is November 17th, Venus entering the shadow. Shadow is the degree that Venus will move back to at the end of the retrograde. Right, so in February, when Venus is stationing direct, it'll happen at 11 degrees. From 11 degrees to 26 Capricorn, that's the container of this Venus retrograde period. We had Venus conjunct Pluto just recently, the first one. Now here on December 19th, here in the US on the West Coast, Venus stations retrograde, 26 Capricorn. Now notice here, at this point, Venus is about 30 degrees from the sun. If you flip this chart to the western horizon, then you'll see that after the sun sets, Venus would be hanging out here in the 7th house. That means Venus is currently manifesting right now and even then as an evening star. Progressively, Venus and the sun are joining. So watch what happens as we move these charts forward. Here we have the next Venus-Pluto conjunction. Now already Venus and the sun are about 22 degrees from each other. Now we have the inferior conjunction. That's on January 8th. So by then, Venus and the sun are conjunct. This means you can't see Venus. It's in the rays of the sun. So the inferior conjunction is the conjunction between Venus and the sun during the retrograde. This is when Venus is closest to the Earth. It's in between the sun and the Earth from the Earth's point of view. The superior conjunction being when the sun from the Earth's point of view is in between Venus and the Earth. So this inferior conjunction, which is also commonly regarded as one of the flower petal points in an 8-year cycle, where Venus makes these 5 petal points that come to an almost exact, but not perfectly exact 5-pointed star. So that happens on the 8th. About 3 days before the 8th, Venus is no longer viewable in the evening sky. And about 3 days after the 8th, on the 11th, we begin to see Venus emerge as a morning star. Right? That means before the sun rises, you will see a little bit of Venus in the sky just before the sun rises, and it gets too bright. So this is a very common teaching in the Venus retrograde cycle. Venus enters the underworld. You can't see her anymore. If you think about Venus being self-value, self-esteem, beauty, harmony, we have to take that inside. Who are we when the outer world doesn't validate who we know ourselves to be? Who are we when things aren't flowing in the ways of grace and beauty and harmony that we otherwise want it to? There is a ceremony here to go inside of ourselves, and Venus is all about the heart chakra. It's about feeling. There can be a medicine during this time to open up locked places inside of us. And Capricorn is all about repression. So where is this in your chart? What's being repressed? What can we access? Where can we find more value? Healthy self-value, healthy self-esteem, healthy self-worth. Restore a sense of grace and trust in ourselves. Trust in life. Where energy isn't flowing very well, where there is disharmony, is actually where we are coming more into ourselves. It's where we're unlocking hidden gifts, feeling things we haven't felt, awakening to a greater depth of beauty inside of ourselves. And if we rush it, we're like, I just want to be here. I just want to get there. I just want to feel this. I just want to make this much money and be successful. And Venus comparing, this person. I've been listening to this teacher, Terry Real, who speaks a lot about intimacy and what's the term that he uses? Fierce intimacy. And he speaks a lot about the idea of one up and one down. Right? We can make ourselves lower than or higher than others. And holding that construct of one up, one down, is we're going to see other people comparatively being in a space where, oh, I wish I was more like that, or they're better than me. That same ego structure is going to find something, well, at least I have more money, or I have more following, or there's always going to be a way in which we source our value in a comparative way. Sadly, it's a thing that we've all learned. It's a big part of our own conditioning. And it's not healing. It's not helpful. So looking at the next important point, this is where Venus stations direct. This is on January 29th, so it comes back to that point. So again, you can see at this point, Venus has emerged strongly as a morning star. So on both sides of the inferior conjunction, that's kind of that ceremony container. And from the 11th on, we see Venus beginning to gain power. She's both picking up speed. She doesn't pick up speed until after the 29th. She's picking up brightness, right? Beginning to emerge into a new state of glory and self-value, self-esteem. And by the 29th, that's the stationing point. And at that point, Venus begins to move faster. And now notice something very interesting here. Because Venus has been going so slow because of retrograde, this is a time when Mars is moving more quickly than Venus. Usually Mars moves slower. So what's been happening is Mars has been catching up to Venus as Venus has been slowing down. So by the time Venus stations, Mars has come into a conjunction, just an 8-degree orb with Venus, continue to watch Mars and Venus. By the 16th of February, they are conjunct at 16 degrees Capricorn. And this is a really, really neat thing. Mars joins Venus. And just think of the symbology of this. Venus is a morning star now, gaining in brightness, more viewable. I actually don't know the extent of the brightness. I shouldn't say that, but definitely viewable and gaining in speed. And Mars catches up, and there's going to be a period of time of about 13 plus degrees where Mars and Venus are moving at the same pace. Check it out. Venus passes the stationary point 26 degrees Capricorn on March 1st. Mars and Venus are still very close to each other, right? Third conjunction with Pluto here on March 3rd. Right, so Venus leaves the shadow period, is conjunct Pluto again. March 5th, finally, Venus passes Mars, right? This whole time, Venus and Mars are together, and Mars is just a little bit ahead, and then finally Venus picks up enough speed, and at that point passes Mars and moves, at 0 degrees Aquarius. There's so much symbology in that. First we have this whole Capricorn journey, this deep healing and cultivating self-respect, self-value, and really disciplining a deeper connection and trust with our feeling center and going deep within, unlocking hidden places. Finding a measure of success and value that is deeper than external conditions and measures of approval. And then Mars joins, right? The primal union. And if you really think of what that primal union represents, Venus is openness, receptivity, harmony, grace, beauty, and Mars is choice, directive, action, orientation, will, commitment even. What we choose to do, we're committing to. Directing energy out. This is like bringing fire and purpose and direction to a new, growing, esteemed sense of self. And of course, this will manifest and reflect itself in many ways in our lived experience as well. And then it clears Capricorn, enters Aquarius. So it's like a whole new phase, redefining a whole new cycle, clearing, liberation, freedom from the constructs of the past, leaving Pluto as well. So there's a lot of really profound symbology in these symbols. Here's a list of all the core transits. So once again, Venus entering the shadow on November 17th. We see the 3 Pluto conjunctions, the inferior conjunction on the 8th, and then 3 days before and after. That's that window. It's like the death and the resurrection. There's a lot of really beautiful teachers that have spoken about that with the Venus journey. It's not too dissimilar to the more nature-based original mythology around Christmas, right? Solstice being that point, that death point, and then 3 days later, resurrection. There's a certain collective theme in many cultures around this particular theme of death and 3 days, something to meditate upon and to work with that consciously in our own life. Okay. So I did a little I Ching reading on this Venus retrograde cycle, and I love what I got. It's so brilliant. It's so relevant. I got hexagram 22. Hexagram 22 is about grace, beauty. It's also about appearances. Right? Beauty, that which is beautiful. It could also be a little bit deceiving in the sense that one of the lines in hexagram 22 speaks to making your hair beautiful by wetting it. It gives it a shine, but it's a superficial shine. It's going to go away. The wetness is just making it look that way, right? So the real beauty in hexagram 22 isn't just about appearances. It's really about content. Often it's a simpleness, just the quality of things that are simple, unadorned, small offering, not making a big deal out of it. And it changes to 36, which is brightness hidden. And 36 has a lot to do with who are you when you're not seen? Who are you when your efforts aren't recognized, or there's nothing to show, or you're not understood, or you can't fully bring your awareness out into expression yet? There's something very powerful about 36 as you have to just let yourself be who you are. And maybe there's more to understand, there's more to learn, and you can't yet bring your awareness or your insights out into expression yet. What is it like to just be in the experience that you're having when the external world isn't reflecting what's inside yet? There's something rich, there's healing in that. And a lot of the lines in hexagram 36 really do speak to how do we act upon this? And is it possible to act upon these things? Or how do we be in relationship to our existing awareness, but maybe not being seen, not being understood, not being able to do something with it? How do we hold that within ourselves? In combination, line 6, which is the top line here, is a yang line, and it opens up, becomes a yin line, which changes 22 to 36. White beauty, no mistake. This corresponds to a state of beauty and grace that's not trying to make a show. 36, it's inside. You're not trying to make the world notice the beauty. You're just being what you are. And it's sort of just allowing the simpleness of beauty to be. It's natural. It's not seeking to please anything or anyone or be other than what we are. Right? Hilary Barrett, one of my favorite teachers on the I Ching, describes this line. White beauty is pure and simple with nothing added. Like undyed cloth or a blank canvas, it is ready to take on the color of the moment. This could be the sign of inner quality and light too modest to draw attention to itself, or it could be a self-protective reflex, trying to avoid injury by remaining inconspicuous, or it can very much be it's okay to just be unadorned. But now there is no need for bright dyes or disguises, even if your experience so far suggests otherwise. You, in your honest presence and commitment, are enough. This is just so beautiful for that Venus retrograde going into the underworld. You are enough in your honest, simple presence. No colors, nothing added, nothing adorned. And, what if things aren't in the outer world the way you want it to be? What if things aren't flowing or giving that external validation or feedback that would otherwise affirm your beauty, your value, your worth? What if you're enough? Such a powerful teaching. And, again, Venus does correspond to the feeling center. Our hearts. How are we in relationship to our feelings? To allowing everything to be as it is and to seek healing from that place. So I shared some tips here. Allow yourself to feel it all. Explore curiosity. Concern not with appearances, how others think of you, nor with where you wanted yourself to be, how you wanted yourself to feel, what you wanted life to be. Jeannie Zandi, one of my favorite teachers, spiritual teachers, often just speaks about, oh, mercy. Here I am. Oh, mercy. I don't have an answer. Oh, mercy. There's something just so humbling and sweet and peaceful about here I am. Find peace and grace and beauty in the darkness. And when everything is allowed, questions can remain unanswered. There is wisdom and healing in not resisting what is. But I would also add to that, being really open and courageous to feel it all. And I think if we really ask for support, if we ask for healing, if we ask for guidance, life wants to support us in that. I often find that the straight path seems crooked. And by the way, may this just be a blessing for all of us, truly, to grow deeper into ourselves, to grow deeper in our feeling, to go deeper into meeting even more than we knew was there on the inside. May this be a time of medicine and healing for ourselves and for all of our relations. The idea that the straight path seems crooked just takes us into humility. It's not as direct as we wanted it to be. Yes, that is true. Replacing the impulse for future security and certainty with the tenderness and humility of softening into what is now. So these are my humble tips and offerings for myself and for all of us during this time. Okay, I'm sure I'll have more to say about this as we go deeper into the Venus retrograde journey. I want to speak a little bit about the Essentials course. So once again, we have a free live class this Sunday, 11 o'clock Pacific. You have to register to join, so registration link below. During this class, I'm going to be speaking about how I do this work, my lineage and my training in evolutionary astrology, how this course is structured. The essence of my teaching, the essence of the work that I do is really working with astrology as a series of teachings and a map, a wisdom tradition in service to us unraveling and waking up to the love that we are. This whole training, it's not just learning astrology, it's going deeper into our own self-remembering, going deeper into understanding the nuanced dimensions of human consciousness and the soul's journey. So the Essentials course is for beginners, as well as those who are practiced but want solid support from guidance, someone that they trust from the ground up. I'll speak about all the different dimensions that are included. We have a community forum. We have 25 hours of video content, a 500 plus page transcription. We have a workbook as well. There's a container of love and community and support and inclusivity in this community space. It's not just a learning experience, it's also a healing and loving environment. So I hope you'll join. You can ask any questions. You'll hear from some people that have also been a part of this in this past year as well. Once again, registration below. And as well, if you're hearing this today, on Friday in the US, we have the final class, Chiron retrograde. You can drop into that. You could also buy the recording afterwards. This is the final class of the retrograde class series, just as Chiron is also stationing direct. There's so much going on astrologically this month. Okay, much love, many blessings to us all.